First job of the day, we've got toilet not flushing. I reckon it's become disconnected. Oh, good old Workwin Jolly Flush and a fluid master. So we've been sent around to swap out this heating element. Apparently it doesn't work. So we'll just give it a quick test first. So I've actually already just tested out the plug socket and made sure I had power just by plugging something else into it and then doing it. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to test for resistance down the live and neutral and see if we're getting anything, which we're guessing it's going to be open line because obviously it doesn't work. So what you would do is just maybe a little wrap around that one, and that one, make sure they're in there nicely. And as you can see, we've basically got open line. Now I've actually got another heating element here. That one on there. As you can see on this one, we're getting a resistance of about 140 ohms. Obviously this one's a brand new one. Unfortunately, we're not going to be fitting this one today because it's a 400 watt and that radiator is a 1600 high, which means that we'd actually want realistically a minimum 600 watt or even 1000 to give it a good heat. So that's how you do it. It's this little thing that I thought was quite handy. So it's like the ohms law and the power chart and all that stuff. So you can work out what type of resistance readings or your voltages or your amps that you should be getting on something. So with this heating element, for example, we showed what ohms it was reading on a brand new one, and we can work out what that would be without actually having a new one on us. And we'd do that by, that was a 400 watt element. So we'd get a 400, we'd divide that by our 240 volts, and that's going to give us the amps. That's going to give us 1.7 amps. Now we've got the amps and we've got the voltage. We get the voltage and we divide it by the amps, and that's going to give us 144 ohms. So that's what target we should be aiming for. And on our new one, I think it was 140 ohms. Now, we're just using immersion heating as another example that you could spread it out to. So you've got 3 kilowatt immersion. That's going to be 3000 watts divided by 240 volts. That's going to give you roughly 12.5 amps. Now, if you get 240 volts divided by 12.5 amps, that's going to give you 19.2 ohms. So that's how you can work out what kind of resistance reading you should be getting. Obviously, you might not be getting 240 volts, you might be getting 230 volts. You know, so it will fluctuate a little bit. Also, something to bear in mind is, you know, you might have resistance reading, but when you work it out, it's pulling not a lot of amps, so it actually doesn't really heat up that well, or it takes too long. I mean, just look this stuff up. It's all online anyway, you can find it all, and try and get your head around it a bit, and it can help you figure stuff out. You can even work out like a boiler resistance. So you got, say, like a 3 amp fuse and 240 volts, 240 divided by 3, 80 ohms. That's it. So we've got a Green Star 30 CDI conventional, and we're just going to give it a little service and landlords. So first thing that I tend to do on these is I'll do a air integrity. Obviously after you've done all your electrical checks. That's off there. So try and get a good seal on that. Nicely in there. And then, so make sure you've got demand on, turn it all the way up. Press and hold this button. It'll start flashing, and you get the 6 lines here. Means it's in high fire mode. And you're just looking for a reading above 20.6 on here, where I've got 20.95. Okay, so that's looking good. Like that. Put that back on that. Next, get the case off. So, first thing you can see is a bit of debris in there. It's got the new style electrodes, which is good. You don't want any other glass panel on here. You've got them, swap them out. So, what I like to do next is my inlet working pressure. Because if I've got a problem with that, then I might not be carrying on with the service of the boiler. Your inlet screw is pretty much always the first screw as the gas pipe comes in. So we're looking at here. The problem here, the boiler's overheating, which isn't great. So we've got a bloody overheating boiler. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure all the rad valves are open and the zone valves opening up. Let's have a little look at that. Now that one's off. That one's off as well. That's what we got, a bit messy. It's going to be our coal feed and vent coming down into the pump. Sounds a little bit airy actually. What let's do is get my magnet out. So I've got a magnet here out of a TF1 filter. Oh. Solid. So that is our flow coming in the coal feed and vent section, but definitely on here and going into that pump. So that is going to be restricting it. It's going to be our main flow coming down from the boiler, comes up here, comes across the top. I mean, that is just sticking to it like mad. Look at that. Drops down in the pump, picks up your vent and coal feed, and then comes down. Again, that's all clogged up. I mean, you can hear it now, it's having a bit of a fit. And into here. I mean, the entire thing is clogged up. what I think I'm probably going to do at this point is check out this filter, and then I might just book it in for a flush. So what I'll do, I'll just turn this off, turn that one off. So what I've actually done is I've booked it in just to check out the pump impeller, check out the free part, and just cut a section of the primary flow out and just see how much crap's in there. And then after that, more than likely book it in for see how much flush. Crap's in it. I mean, really I should wait for the pump overrun to finish, but I'm in a bit of a rush. I think that's off. No, it's not the worst that I've seen, but it's pretty bad. And just because the boiler won't stay in high fire, I think I'm gonna... I mean, I can't really fully service the boiler, I can't even make it run. So I think I'm probably gonna get rid of this job and book it in for a power flush, and then come back and do it. We should only do them up hand tight really, but oh well. Right, so now just having a run around, counting up how many rads they've got. Okay, now I'm just counting the rads for the power flush. We've got 1, 2, I mean they're a bit old but they should be alright to flush. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nine. What the fuck? 10. Jesus. Alright, come look at this. Come and get yourself in here. Is this your bedroom?
What the fuck?
Fucking hell, boy! It's like a recycling plant. Shame it's not all copper, huh? Jesus Christ. You know what, we might let someone else flush this. Okay, that one's alright. Fucking hell. I've lost count how many radiators it was now after that. How many was I up to? Let's call it 12. 13. Around 14. It's locked. 15. Okay, so we've got a bit of an unusual looking toilet here. I think it's Swedish, and we've got to replace the toilet siphon on it, which is a gibret. So obviously cut away silicone. All down here. Unscrew that. And then try and move that out of the way a bit. It's tight. more out. Honestly, this toilet at the moment is just fucking killing me. When I first seen it, I was hoping I could just kind of lift the portion from out the way, but the twats have left the bottom in, so you have to take all the toilet out. It's a nightmare job. I mean, I spent probably 2 hours pushing around this toilet. Try and twist it out. Next time. So I just kind of got it in and just going to give it a little test. Oh, that all looks good. So, move on. You've got to get this blue tab, turn it to the side. Come on, turn. You'll turn that tab to the side so you can adjust it. It's a bit of a problem. Doesn't reach it. So we're struggling at the moment. I just put the new basket in that came with my new siphon. Went to really put the flush pipe back on, and there's not enough thread on the nut to do it up. There we go, that's that back in. What an absolute nightmare that was. Right, so that's it all in. All looks okay. I'm not going to silicone it yet, just in case there is any weeps on it, although I've tested it, it looks alright. So it'll come back in a few days.